Alright, so lesson 3.4. Just for your heads up, we've already finished lesson 3.1. We introduced to you guys what a ratio was. Then we went to 3.2. So first in 3.1, we learned what a ratio was. Hey, there's 2 boys for every 3 girls. Once we completed that, we went to tape diagrams. How do I represent this? Well, 2 parts for every 3 parts. So we did our ratios, then we learned how to do tape diagrams, and we found out how much each part was worth. Then we went into lesson 3, in which we went ahead and I started saying ratio tables. And I said, hey, there's 2 boys for every 3 girls. If there's 4 boys, there'd be 6 girls. If there was 10 boys, there'd be 15 girls. Do you see our progression right now? We identified a ratio. We made a tape diagram, how to find the different parts. Then we made a ratio table to identify all the equivalent ratios. Today, we are working on graphing ratio relationships. Mainly what we're going to learn is how I'm going to take this table and we're going to make coordinate points out of it and we're going to graph it and make one straight line. There's a couple reasons we do that and we'll get into it in a little bit. So, our learning target today is that I will represent ratio relationships in a coordinate plane. Okay? The ways we're going to see that we're successful, you have to do 3 things for me today to say that you have this down and you'll be ready for your test. You're going to have to create and plot ordered pairs from a ratio relationship. That is really, really easy to identify the ratio points or the ordered pairs from ratios. Then you're going to create the graphs, and then you're going to create graphs to compare ratios, and that's talking about when I have 2 different problems. Remember when I did the cupcake one, whose was more red? That's what that third one is. And you'll see we'll do it on example 3 in your notes, and it's really, really simple. So, let's go ahead. What I'd like you to do is we're going to skip exploration 1. Woo, we did good. In fact, you can even put a smiley face. Don't do a smiley face if you fail at life. I'm sorry. Alright, example 2, or exploration 2. You're going to work with a partner. Addison, who's your partner? Who's your partner? Oh, good. Addison gets to work with a table group. You get to work by yourself. No, I'm just joking. Is that okay? I'm sorry. Calm down, Turbo. Here's what I want you to do. Exploration 2, you guys are going to work with a partner. Oh, I'm sorry. I want to give you an overview. I'm going too quick. Today we're going to finish lesson 3.4, and I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like this is one of the easier ones from all your assignments. There's no simplifying you have to do. To be honest, you really don't have to do too much extra math. It's just modeling our ratios. I think today should be a really easy lesson where everyone should be able to get 100%. After today, where's my big calendar? Where are we today? The 14th?
Yeah.
Okay. Next time I see you will be on Monday. On Monday, I'm going to give you a study guide. Now, Monday's our review. So, first thing we'll do is we'll look at your homework and your percents. Then we'll fill out our cheat sheets. You have to have your notebooks for Monday. Then we'll do stations. I'll have 4 stations set up for review, for practicing, playing a game over our concept. And then you'll spend the last half of class working on your study guide and studying for your quiz. On Wednesday, you're going to take your quiz and then have an Ed Puzzle video. Okay? So, on Wednesday, you'll also turn in all your notes for your effort grade. Also, to help you guys out with grades, we met again yesterday, and I just don't feel like you guys have enough 80% grades. And I mean, and it's fair. I mean, I don't want to just, hey, your daily homework. No, it shouldn't, because you get help in your daily homework. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make your study guide that you're doing in class of study for your test. I'm going to turn around and make that worth an 80% grade. And it's not going to be worth like 20 points or anything, but I'll probably make it worth like 10 points. I'll just make every question worth 1 point. You can check your answers, and it'll help you. You can check them. If you do it, it should help your grade. I will allow you to check your answers. Chance?
Will we have different partners for groups, like station class?
Yeah, I gotta introduce new station group leaders. I'm actually happy you reminded me of that. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna do our exploration, and when we get done, I'm gonna ask you guys to open up your laptops. I'm gonna have to open up mine so I can watch your screens. Remember, if you're off task, I'm gonna mark your planner for it and then just send you off and do other work. But I'm going to have you do some of your work on big ideas, because it's all about graphing. And I actually found out in my first group, it worked better if you guys can just do the graphing online than on paper, because sometimes it's hard to see lines. Alright, so let's get started. We're going to spend 5 minutes on exploration 2. Use the graphs to make a ratio table. So the first thing everyone can do in their notebook right now, I'll do this with you, I'll be your partner, is I'm going to do this, possibly. There we go. I'm going to make a nice big one. I don't like after it's one. Okay. And then I'm going to say milk cereal. Alright, so you're going to work with your partner to complete this table based off this graph. After you do that, talk with your table group so you can share with me about what the black, there's the black right here, and what the gray, I'll do gray and a light, I'll do it in blue, so I'll make it blue. And then the dash down here is the exact same graph, but instead they used dashed lines. See if you can figure out what those all are meaning, why they put them in there. Alright, turn and work. Alright, let's go ahead. Sorry, I had to get the eyeball all going. So, good job working hard, guys. Alright. Who can tell me, what is my ratios here from milk to cereal? What did we put in? Owen?
5 milk and 2 cereals.
Where did you find that?
The 5 was above the 2, so I thought maybe, because like, if you see the line where the 5 is at and where the period is, so I thought maybe that's where the 5 would be. And 2, it shows it going up.
Okay, so this is actually this is kind of a basic intro. You'll do this a lot in algebra, but this is making a straight line, a linear line. Linear means it's a line, straight. And the coordinate point is 5, 2. Remember, your first coordinate, that 5, tells you your direction left and right. Your second point tells you up and down. So I went over 5, up 2. The next point, well, if I look, the next coordinate point they gave me was this one, which was 10, 4. So 10 milk, 4 cereal. Then they gave me this coordinate point, which was 15, 6. We're able to use a line to identify any 2 coordinate points that are easy to recognize, and those give me my equivalent ratios. 5 to 2, 10 to 4, 15 to 6. If you noticed, how do I go from 5 to 10? I could multiply it by 2, so 2 times 2. I'm going to erase these because I want to show you this part. What if, whoops, I blamed you. Okay. What if I went from 5 to 15? How would I get there? Elizabeth? How did I get from 2 to 6 then? That is what our dashed one is telling us right there. They said, hey, I went from this point to this one. I times it by 3 and went over, and I times by 3 and went up. That's what we're doing here. Over here, when I added 5 and I added 2, that's because that was our smallest ratio. I went add 5, I got to 10, add 2, I got 4. Add 5, I get 15, add 2, I get 6. If I was to draw one extra box, what would be my next coordinate points? Hudson?
28.
Add 5, add 2. Okay? Now, the biggest thing that you're going to have to learn from today is we're going to make our table, and then we're going to write out our points. The top one is always our X term on a table. Get used to that for algebra. You'll do that a lot. Your X term is going to be your top one, which is also your first. X goes left and right. If you're ever trying to remember that in a graph, the way I remembered X is because the whole graph is on top of you and it's heavy. So if I want to hold something heavy, I put my arms out. Here's my hand. There's my hand. And I don't want to hold something heavy and have my feet close together, right? I want to get a nice firm base. I get big. So then I have my feet out. Mm-hmm. Perfect. Oh my God, that's an amazing drawing.
I know, that's so good.
I mean,
That gotta be selling.
Pablo Picasso's got nothing on me. You're lucky I still become your math teacher and I don't go into art. Now, the reason we don't use a Y, if you ever think about that, is because if I used a Y, hey, Mr. Sissel, it's so it's got the 2 hands, but he's standing on 1 foot. Do you want to hold 500 pounds with 1 foot?
Yeah.
No. Shut up. No. You're a fool. Alright, close these, and why didn't you take the notes that I didn't give out to you yet? God, you guys are a bunch of failures sometimes. What? You didn't take the notes that I didn't give you yet. Come on.
I already got my note.
Let's see. Owen. Good job, Owen.
Yeah. At least I love favorite. Mr. Sissel already has a note. Do you have something? No, those are mine. He took those. That's
Bully.
We just talked about Sergio yesterday.
Yes. Actually, I 11 14. I found them.
Alright, so let's get going so we can get done. This really shouldn't take us too long. You guys should have a good amount of time to work. Alright. First thing on your notes. Name, date, assignment, second block purple. Now you guys have done a great job turning in your work. Today I'll show you there's actually, if you get homework B, you only have to show work on 4 questions. It's pretty simple. Now, warm up, we'll kind of fly through this. If this was already there, I have just this grid. This is a good conversation. I always need to label everything. Now, one thing is we always start at 0. And then you have to think of your scale. Now, I told you to make your x-axis left and right. That's your horizontal one. 0 through 10 counting by ones. So I'm going to go 1. I'm going to skip a line and go 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Why am I skipping writing every number down? Does anyone have an idea why I probably didn't write every number down? That's it. I can kind of make my numbers bigger. I mean, honestly, isn't this line, I did line 1, the next line's word 2, the next line's 3, the next line's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Why don't I like that?
It's too crowded.
Yeah, it gets pretty crowded. So you just have to kind of get used to things, making sure we want to make our graphs easy to read. That's the whole purpose of a graph. Now, what is 0, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and 11 representing? What's it representing?
Time.
It's representing time. Always label. Our other side is going by tens, and I told you to count by fives. So I'm going to go 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. And this side is my earnings. Now, my first question is, can anyone identify what is one of my coordinate points that I would graph based off this ratio table? How about, can anyone tell me what one of the ratios are? Grant?
1 to 10.
Good. 1 goes to 10. So when I write this, 1 to 10. Remember, this is my x, this is my y. 1 to 10. I'm going to go over 1, up 10. Can anyone tell me what is my second coordinate point? Brock? 2 and 20. 2, 20. X is over 2, up 20. Can anyone identify my third and final coordinate point that's listed? Quick. 3 goes to 30. So over 3, up 30. Now, we make a straight line. You start at 0, 1, 2, 3. Now, here's the beauty part. Actually, I'm going to try and make this go further. Failed me. Now, in algebra, we made the students use a ruler. For every one of their homeworks, every one of the things, they had to use a ruler to draw a straight line. Why? Because we had to be super accurate. Right now, I'm not worried about that. I want you to get used to it, though. Now, if I had this straight line, gosh, this is me getting too picky. I know, I hate my life sometimes. Okay, I'm going to use this tool. A straight line, remember, goes on forever. I get picky. Now, what is the advantage? There we go. What does this prove to me now that my graph? Why did I do a line? What does this show me?
A ratio pattern.
Ratio pattern. And also, all 3 points fell on my line, correct?
Yeah.
I did my table correct. 3 points make a straight line accurate. How many points do I need to make one line?
1, 2.
You have to have 2. I have to have a point and another point to go to. I showed this with the other group. Let's say I have a board and I need to cut. I do this a lot when I'm building things. And I measure from here and I have to measure so many inches over. So I go, okay, here's a mark. I measure over. Okay, there's a mark. And I go over, there's a mark. Now, are they lined up? No, I always get my ruler and I have a T-square. And I put it on there and I go, whoops. Ooh, wait a minute. I didn't go through that point. So that tells me one of my measurements has to be off. And I've had this happen before. Because if I only measure twice, let's say I measured here, and I'm going to over-exaggerate. But let's say I went to here. Well, if I connect the dots, I'd go straight line. Yes, I did it perfect. Well, they actually the same distance away. I over-exaggerated, but are they? No. If they weren't as far, I wouldn't be able to tell. 2 points make a line, but we don't know how accurate it is, so we need 3. I tell you that because on today's homework, you are going to have to make a ratio table. X, Y. Guess how many points I want you to have.
3.
For your homework, when you have to make your ratio table, I need 3 ratios. Now, the reason is, let's do this one. Can anyone tell me what my last ratio should be?
4.
Okay, so 4. No one else shout anything else out. You told me 4. What would be my earnings? Ainsley? 45? Wow, okay. 45. So Ainsley said 45. So I'm going to check her answer now. And I'm going to go over 4. And I'm going to go up to 45 right there. Oh,
She wrong? I think she's wrong.
did 45 land on my line?
Yes.
Oh, Ainsley failed. Ainsley. Man, you should have said 45. What should have been the right answer? Now, I could do the math on this, which I wish you'd be paying attention, Ainsley, not just shouting random things out. But I could have done the math for my ratio, or I could have just said, hey, I'm going to look at my line. I know she told me 4, so I'm going to go over 4, and I'm going to go straight up. Oh, it crossed right there, which is at, oh, should have been 40. Much better. Thank you. I had to have an example for wrong answer. Alright, so, if you guys didn't know, Ainsley actually said 40, but I had to make her say 45. I needed the wrong answer. We use a graph because it can show me whether I did my table ratios correct. It shows me equivalent ratios. Right now, how many ratios, if I look at that line, how many ratios do you think I could identify? 4. Okay, 4. Can anyone identify more than 4?
11.
11. Can anyone find more than 11?
13.
13. Anyone find any more than 13?
20.
26. Okay, can anyone do more than 26?
20
what?
29. 500. No, 512.
Well, how about just right here? I know, I like what Elizabeth just said. She said, well, if the chart just keeps going, I could just keep finding a lot. How about just right now? What I have pictured here. How many do you think you could identify on this chart?
I can.
11, 50,
74.
74?
Well, hang on. Are we trying to give them one?
12 is the max?
75.
Okay.
75.
What if I told you I want to know?
No, it's infinity because the chart can go on forever. No, it can't. Yes, it
It
can.
has to stop eventually.
No, it doesn't.
No.
It goes on forever. Look at the arrows.
arrows.
Yeah, look at the arrows.
Okay, so 1, I like what you're saying. 1, we have arrows here, here, and here, which means it goes on forever. 1, the answer is infinity, but not because it continues on forever, but is this point right here, if I identify the x and y, the coordinates, is that an equivalent ratio that could go on my table?
Yes.
What about this point?
Yes.
What about this point?
Yes.
This one? That one? That one? That one? That one? That one? That one? And all we have to do, all this does is gives us any point that falls on our line is an equivalent ratio. Now, might these become decimals? Yeah. So it might be hard, but if we use something like Desmos, like we did yesterday, it graphs it. And when I click on the line, it tells me the exact coordinates. That's an equivalent ratio. Alright, let's look at example 1. Let's get going on this pretty quick. This should not take us long. Good. We're actually doing great on time. You guys are awesome. All right, example 1. Graphing ratio relationships. All right. I'm going to have you guys get on your computers in just a second. Let's get through this part, and then you'll get on to do your triads. Okay? So, actually, I'm going to have everyone get on the computer first, so I just know you're there. So, everyone, get to big ideas. And I need to see everyone's computer screen right here. Yep, yours looks just a touch different, but I need everyone to their dashboard. This is your dashboard. It's the startup for big ideas. When your table group is there, you raise your hand.
I'm here.
Your table group or you?
I'm me.
Oh, I don't need individuals, I need table groups. Everyone in your table group is there? Everyone in your table group is there? Dashboard. Dashboard.
Oh, here.
Uh-oh, I dropped yours behind your computer. You guys were first to get to it. Is everyone on your dashboard almost? Alright, dashboard. 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 Ooh, I missed two of them.
We're your favorites.
Now, everyone on their dashboard needs to click. Everyone on their dashboard needs to click continue right next to the textbook. I'm going to give you 5 seconds, then I'm going to send you the link. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay? You should get the little link popping up if you're in there.
No.
I wonder if I have to hit OK first. Oh, there we go. Now you should get the link. Go ahead and click on that. Do not click play on the video. I'm going to hit play on the video. Look at your notes. Because on your notes, A is done for you, but B is not. You're going to have to fill out the notes for B. Alright? Follow along. If I have you on something else, I'm going to have to mark your planner.
Represent each ratio relationship using the graph. Part A. Use the equivalent ratios 4 to 2, 8 to 4, and 12 to 6 to create ordered
Now,
pairs.
this is honestly
The
what
ordered
most
pairs
of your homework
of
looks like.
water are 4, 2, 8, 4, and 12, 6. To graph the ratio relationship, start by plotting the ordered pairs. Remember, when plotting an ordered pair XY, the number x corresponds to the horizontal axis and the number y corresponds to the vertical axis. Plot 4, 2, 8, 4, and 12, 6. Then, start at 0, 0 and draw a line through the points. This graph represents the ratio relationship from the table. Part
Okay.
B.
Does everyone
Use
get what
the
they just did? Coordinate points. Top is X, bottom is Y. So 4, 2, 8, 4, 12, 6. 4, 2, 8, 4, 12, 6. Draw a straight line. Alright? This is what you have to do on B.
Ratios
Do it
1
on your
to 10,
notes.
2 to 20, and 3 to 30 to create ordered pairs. The ordered pairs time earnings are 1, 10, 2, 20, and 3, 30. To graph the ratio relationship, start by plotting the ordered pairs. 1, 10, 2, 20, and 3, 30. Then start at 0, 0 and draw a line through the points. This graph.
What I'm really wanting you to do is on your notes. Come on, thing. On your notes, what I'd like you to do is first, let's write out what our. Let's try that again. What is one of my coordinate points? What are one of my ordered pairs? Quick. 1 to 10. Remember, X, Y. So I'm going to go over here, over 1, up 10. Can anyone tell me what is my second one? Gio?
220.
2 and 20. So I'm going to write this down. This is what you are going to have to be doing today. 220 for 4 coolness points, which are not worth anything. Great. What's my third one?
330.
3 to 30. Over 3 to 30. 330 over 3 up 30. What do I do once I have 3 points? Hudson?
Draw a line with an arrow.
Did all 3 points follow my straight line? Good. Now remember, if I would have done this, it won't take me but a second to do this. If I would have graphed this incorrect, 1 to 10. Let's do 2 to 20, and I'm going to go over here. And then I did my 3 to 30. And I went to graph my line. Can I get my straight line?
No.
I'd be like, wait a minute. That's not. Alright, my line wasn't that straight.
No.
Failure.
No.
Life on that one. That's why I like using a ruler. Today, your computer will make your straight line for you.
Oh,
So, boom. Oh, wait a minute. That one's not there. Why?
because
Because you put it in.
you have to look. It's not because those dots aren't straight. You didn't make them good.
I did.
You didn't put it on
They're not.
2.
Yeah, they're
Good. The dot's on 1.5. So that's where you want to make sure that you graph it correct. That's why we do the line. That's why we graph. It helps check my work. All right. Here's what I want you to do. In your notes, you're going to see this. I'm not going to make you do it in your notes. So, everyone, I'm going to send the link again just because I'm like that. Okay, everyone got the link? Click on it. Real quick. If you say start, represent the ratio relationship using the graph. Now you have your notes that has the table for you. So if you scroll up, you can go ahead and all you have to do is click. Now if I put it in the wrong place, I just have to click on the dot and drag it to the right place. Alright? So I think it makes the line for me. Yeah. Alright, so go ahead and do that. Let's see how you guys are doing. Do number 1. When you get your answer, how many points do I want to see on your graph?
A lot.
I want to see 3 coordinate points. I know it will make the line after 2. Put all 3. Alright? So I'm going to pause real quick too.
I'm done.
So, good job. Good job. I'm watching your screens. I don't want to see you on anything else. I don't want to see you work on your homework or anything. Okay, example 2. Go to your notes. We're really close to done. This really shouldn't take us long. Example 2 is using a graph to solve a ratio problem. So, if you want to look at this, what we're really having to do is 1, our first step is to identify our ratio. Hey, wasn't that lesson 3.1?
No.
Our second step that you're going to do today is you're going to create a ratio table. And how many ratios do I need you to make? How many ratios do you have to identify? 3. That was lesson 3.3. Then we are going to graph and read. That is today's lesson. Alright? So, on 3.2, on lesson 2, gosh, gosh, example 2, here's how we're going to use our graph.
You buy dark chocolate cashews for $12.50 per pound. Part A. Represent the ratio relationship using a graph. Start by creating a ratio table. Relationships involving cost are often graphed with cost on the vertical axis. So create a ratio table using the ratio of pounds of cashews to cost. The cost is $12.50 per pound. So 1 pound of cashews costs $12.50. Use repeated addition with the ratio 1 to 12 and 5/10 to create the table. Add 1 to 1 to get 2, and 12 and 5/10 to 12 and 5/10 to get 25. Use repeated addition again with the quantities from the original ratio to get the equivalent ratio 3 to 37 and 5/10. Use the equivalent ratios 1 to 12 and 5/10, 2 to 25, and 3 to 37 and 5/10 to create ordered pairs. The ordered pairs, cashews, cost, are 1, 12 and 5/10, 2, 25, and 3, 37 and 5/10. Graph the ratio relationship by plotting the ordered pairs and drawing a line. Plot it.
Alright, I'm going to pause it for a second. Possibly. Alright, now, don't mess with your computers. You'll see that I blocked it. I'm trying to use this to make sure we're focusing. So, sorry, Diago. He's doing something a little different. I'll fix yours in a second. Un momento. Alright, so, how did she get 1 to 12.5? How do we get that first ratio?
She was dividing.
Show me more. What do you mean?
So if the dark chocolate cashews were $12 and 50 cents, she divided it by 3 because
No. How did I get 1 pan of cashews is $12.50? Gio?
Well, because it's not really on like where the 25 is, and like you go to one, it's like in the middle of like 10 and 15.
Okay. But no. Where did I get? I mean, we have to understand this. In this story problem, how did I get the initial ratio of 1 to 12.5? Rob? In the very beginning, cashews cost 12.5 per. You're going to find this in lesson 5. We're going to do this a lot. Per is telling we're doing a ratio, we're doing a comparison. It kind of means 12.5 for 1 pound. If it would have said 12.50 per 5 pounds, our ratio would have been 5 to 12.5. Now we use this every single, well, I guess you don't use that every single day. I use it every time I go shopping. I ran to Costco real quick yesterday. The boys wanted chips, because I pack their lunch every day. And they wanted the bag, and of course, Dad was like, I want these. They're all the flaming chips. I'm like, he was like, yeah, I'll go get, they ate lunch. They get, oh my God, you guys are weird. But, okay, the one box was 50 bags of chips, 50 or 45. I think 45 for the flaming chips. And it cost like $13 and some cents. Where they had another bag that wasn't flaming, and it was like 50 bags of chips for a different price. Well, it's kind of cool. If you go in stores, a lot of times they'll do the math for you. They'll say, hey, if you look down in the right corner, it's like 15 cents per unit. They're doing the ratio for you, which is what we're going to do in 3.5. But they're doing this. They're saying, hey, here's the cost per, and they're saying per box. A lot of times you go places and they'll say, hey, we're going to give you 2. So they'll say $12.50 per pair. And so if you want to find out what 1 is, you just have to find the math out. Okay? You'll see this in lesson 3.5. We'll use it a lot. But this is telling me a ratio. So $12.50 per pound is 1 for $12.50. How did they get 2 to 25 then? Because they didn't tell us in our story problem. How did I get the next 2 in my table? If you don't know, turn and talk to your neighbors. I need to know. I know the answer. But if you don't, it's not helping you anymore. Well, good. Hudson knows it. Hudson needs to share with some people so they can all get share with your table group. This is wasting time when we don't talk and share.
There's like one pound. Or simply you could just
Alright, does anyone have my answer for me now? Besides Hudson? If not, we gotta keep collaborating, which is wasting our time, remember. How did I get my other ratios? So far I have 1 is 12.5. How did I get the other 2? Did they just randomly make them up?
Yes.
Yes was the answer. Janaya, what'd they do? Right. If 1 pound is 12.50, if I had another pound, I had another 12.50. This is what you guys did in lesson 3.3. You're completing the ratio table. I went 1 plus 1 is 2, so 12.5 plus 12.5 is 25. 1 plus 2 is 3, so I added another 12.5. Could they have just times? 1 times 3, 12.5 times 3. Alright. Then they graphed it.
25, 3, 37, and 5/10. Then start at 0, 0 and draw a line through the points. This graph represents the ratio relationship. Part B. How much does 2 5/10 pounds of dark chocolate cashews cost? You are looking for the cost of 2 5/10 pounds cashews.
Now, they are going to show how to get the real answer, the exact answer. I don't want that right now. Okay? What I want you to do, can anyone show me on here where would my answer be found? So look at your notes. This is on yours. I want to know how much 2.5 pounds of cashews cost. I'm going to unblock people's, but then I'm going to block everyone else's. Oh, Diego. You're good.
What? Wow.
Diego, you can keep going.
Why?
Trabajo. Alright, can anyone find it? Where am I going to draw it? Remember, unless you guys just sit here, less time you have to work. It's almost 10 o'clock. You have 28 minutes left of class. We can finish this. Whenever we finish, it's how much work time you get. Brock, you know the answer?
Yeah.
Good, you have to find someone else to tell them. Anyone else know the answer that can do this?
Yeah. What do we do?
Ooh, I need at least 12 people that know the answer for sure. Where is my answer on my graph? Where would my answer be? I don't need to know what the answer is right now. I need to know where is it represented. You have to have... Everyone in your table group has to be able to do it. I'm going to randomly pick one. If that person... Hey, we'll do this. I'm going to randomly choose one person. If that person gets the answer right, everyone in your table group gets a piece of candy. Alright, I will give you 60 more seconds to find the answer. So I would be talking with your table group. Remember, I just want to clarify. I don't need the answer. I just need to know where is it on my graph. Okay? So if your person in your table group doesn't know, you cannot get mad at them because you didn't share it with them. They should have known it.
Wait, what if some people did like one person in their table group didn't share that whole thing? What even is
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, let's see. Oh, Diego's over by himself. Alright, Ainsley. Come up. Where is my answer? I know, last time she got 45. She's so... Redemption time.
What's the issue?
No pressure.
Lots of pressure.
Pressure.
Alright. She is correct.
Yeah.
I will give her group candy. Now, the reason is, I asked for 2.5. Here's 2, here's 3. So there's 2.5. You just come straight up, and there it is where it crosses the number line. Where it crosses is my intercept. Now, if I knew what this number was, if I knew that coordinate point, that would be my answer. So here's my question. Is it more or less than $20? More or less than $25?
More.
More or less than $30?
More.
More or less than $35?
Less.
Alright, good. So, here's how we could find our real answer, though. There is a way we could find the exact answer. And I'll get yours in just a second.
In the graph, you can see that 2 5/10 pounds of cashews is halfway between 2 and 3. So the cost is halfway between $25 and $37.50. So 2 5/10 pounds of dark chocolate cashews cost $31.25. Another method would be to use a double number line to find the cost. Increment the number line using the original ratio of 1.
Now, I'm going to pause here. Do you see what she just said?
Yes.
Because 2.5 is halfway between 2 and 3, we knew 2 was 25, 3 was 37.5, so halfway in between had to be our 31.25. Alright. I don't think I want to make you do this one.
I do it.
No, I don't want you to. Okay, let's look at the last one in your notes. Why did I put the self-assessment concept and skills? Why is that on there?
Because so you can practice and you can get the hang of it, and once you get the hang of it, then you know what you're doing.
Good. Modeling real life. Pay attention to this one. This is that last one. Remember I told you at the very beginning are ways you're going to prove it. Create graphs to compare rates. This is that last one you have to do. And then we're done for the day. So, I'm going to compare a hot air balloon to a blimp because I want to see which one is rising faster. Now, without solving it, let's just do a little vote. It says a hot air balloon rises 9 meters every 3 seconds. So I'm going to say 9 for every 3. And a blimp rises...
That's wrong.
Make sure you pay attention to your labels, people.
Exactly.
Hush, you made a mistake, not me. Okay, I made a mistake.
Yeah, I was the one who told you.
You did not. Okay. Alright, if in 3 seconds the balloon goes up 9 meters, the blimp, every 2 seconds it goes up 7. Before we finish the answers, who thinks, I'm going to say 1, 2, 3. If you think it's the balloon, when I say 3, I want you to clap 3 times. Just like that. Not more than 3, or I'm going to get mad at you. If you think it's the blimp, you're going to and hit your desk 3 times. Okay? I don't expect you to know the real answer. I want to see who's thinking about this. Because right now, you, without doing all the problems, you could use a little reasoning and find the real answer. So, balloon clap, blimp desk. 1, 2, 3. Good, I have a couple mixtures. Alright, fill in your notes as we go. This is the last thing we're doing.
Wait, what was the answer?
You're going to see, we're doing it right now.
A hot air
Fill in
balloon
your notes as we go.
9 meters every 3 seconds. A blimp rises 7 meters every 2 seconds. Graph each ratio relationship in the same coordinate plane. Which rises faster? Create ratio tables for each rising object. Then plot the ordered pairs, time, height from the table and use the graph to determine which rises faster. Start by creating a ratio table for the balloon. Balloon rises 9 meters every 3 seconds. So the ratio of time to height is 3 to 9. Add the quantities from the original ratio to produce an equivalent ratio, 6 to 18. Do this again
Should be
to get an
filling this
equivalent
out.
ratio of 9 to 27. Now create the ratio table for the blimp. Blimp rises 7 meters every 2 seconds, though the ratio of time to height is 2 to 7. Use the quantities from this ratio to obtain an equivalent ratio of 4 to 14. Use the equivalent ratio of 6 to 21. Now use the equivalent ratios from the table to create ordered pairs. The ordered pairs for the balloon are 3, 9, 6, 18, and 9, 27.
All right.
For the blimp are 2, 7,
Now you're gonna see that they
4,
use
14,
different colors.
and 6, 21.
Are you doing this in your notes?
Plot and label each set of
Hope
ordered
so, because
pairs.
this is part of the
Then
grade.
draw a line starting at 0, 0 through each set of points.
All right. Before I let her continue going, when you're doing this in real life, you should use 2 colors. Why?
So you can tell which one the
Yeah.
one.
Quick. You can do a quick visual. All right.
For the balloon, plot 3, 9, 6, 18, and 9, 27. Then draw a line through the points, starting at 0, 0. For the blimp, plot 2, 7, 4, 14, and 6, 21, and draw a line through the points starting at 0, 0. Both graph.
All right. Now, how can I tell which one's the answer right away? Which one is it? Is it the balloon or the blimp that rises faster?
The red.
Why the blue? Why the blimp? Elizabeth?
The balloon because it has the biggest.
Wait, blimp or balloon?
Balloon.
The balloon rises faster?
Yes.
Are you sure? Because you're wrong.
Wait, no. Wait, hang on.
I mean, maybe you're not, but you are. That's so mean,
Wait,
Grant.
no. It's the blimp because it takes the shortest time because it has the smallest ratio.
Kinda.
Wait,
Ainsley?
remember they're both at 6 seconds? The blimp is 21 meters, and the balloon is
Alright, so we did this in 3-3. One, you could have used your ratio table to identify it. In 6 seconds, the balloon went up 18 meters. The blimp in 6 seconds went up 21. Same amount of time, 18 to compare to 21, the blimp's higher. So the blimp is rising faster. The other way is, look at the picture. Which one's on the higher side? The blue. The blue's going up more than the red is at a faster rate. It's more steep. In algebra, you're going to learn that the slope here is greater than this slope. Slope is talking about rise over run. Alright, I'm done. Your homework. Before you guys get started, you must go to the right thing so I can show you the right thing so I don't fail at life again. Alright, homework. Hey, who said it again?
me.
Shifty. Okay, your homework. I still got your screen blocks, you can't do it. Okay, paying attention on. Did it come through?
Yeah.
That's right. Alright, on number 1, you have to show me all the work. You need to redraw this one. This one's just a review to show me you know what you're doing. I need you to redraw this so you'll go number 1. Remember, you can label F, S, I don't care. Alright, 6, 2, 3, 4, 15. Oh, I'm explaining this. I need to make sure everyone's listening so I do it right. Draw this. When you get your answer, you have to show me how. Hey, like, I divided by 2, so I'm going to divide by 2. Okay? Show me how you get your answers when you put them in. On number 2, this is the important part because it does not tell you to do this, and I'm requiring you to. For your work, I will count it as a missing one if you don't do all this. On number 2, there's only a couple of these you have to do. You have to draw the table. You have time, that's your x-coordinate, over distance. It says 45 miles per hour, so 45 to 1. How many coordinate points am I telling you you have to have? You have to have 3. So on your work, you have to show me You go. Time over distance. I did it again. There's one. You have to show me the other three. And on your graph, it will. If you pick 2 points, it'll automatically make your line. You need to put all 3 of these points on there. Whatever you put on your work. You have to do that on number 2. You have to do it on number 3. Number 4. The table's already made. Is there any work you have to do?
Yes.
Nope. You just have to graph it. No work. Number 5. There's the table. No work. You graph. Number 6. Table. No work. You graph. Number 7. Table. No work. You graph. Number 8. Table. No graph. Wait.
No
Table.
work.
No work. You graph. Number 9. Table. No work. You graph. Number 10.
No table.
Work.
You need to make a table. If they don't give you the table, you make it. 4 questions you have to do it. Unless you have A, and you have different work. All right.